Welcome to Gaia's rising harmonic field, a temple without walls, mapped by frequency and entered via resonance. Bring your light to the sacred well and let us drink the waters of remembrance together. For anyone listening, thank you for being here. Want to introduce you to my friend, Laira. If you don't know her already, she is so many things to me. We can start just saying she is an Akashic guide. Does that good to you? Because I know there's so many things you do, but it does all seem to come back to your connection with the Akashic records and your channel as it presents, the Akashic records as they present through your unique channel.
Of course, yeah, definitely. I feel in everything that I do, the foundation of everything I do is the Akashic record. So I definitely resonate with that, being known as an Akashic guide, because that's essentially what it is I do.
I'm already smiling too because I feel like the word guidance, it feels so comfortable to me. We've had lots of conversations around the teacher energy, which I have mentioned in my lifetime has just given me hesitation. There's a difference between guiding someone through something and then telling somebody what to do. And a teacher doesn't have to be that rigid, I'm telling you what to do. And over time, I just had to learn that it's whatever energy another person brings is
Yes,
how it informs their expression of whether they're guiding or teaching. But guidance in general feels so free, so flexible. Inherently to me, I hear, oh, you're with me. It's my journey, but you're with me. And
correct. Yeah.
that feels good.
Yes. Yes. And that's something that I always have thought about. And one of the reasons why I decided to, as I can I opened up to my spiritual gifts and I decided to pursue yoga. The teacher aspect of it, like yoga teacher training, that turned me off. I don't want to be seen as a teacher teaching others. And when I came across Strala Yoga, which is they focus on guides, Strala guides, because we're just there to guide, and everyone has their own experience, everyone has their own body, everyone has their own way of moving, and we're just there to guide a flow, not teach them how to do it because everyone's different. And that's something that I was drawn to, specifically guide, and that stayed with me moving forward in everything that I do as an Akasha guide. And I'm just there to hold space. I'm there to, like you said, be alongside the person, be there, but not tell them how to do it or be rigid about it. No, I feel like I'm just there to almost shine the light and I'm by your side knowing that you're being supported and I'm here, but it's your experience. And that's the approach I take in everything that I do within my work as a channel, as a guide, as when I'm teaching, sharing these tools as to connecting with your intuition, connecting to the Akashic records. It's very much, I'm just guiding the experience and I'm providing these tools, but I'm not saying this is the way you do it. I'm just providing them to you so you could feel what resonates with you, taking it from there. But yeah, as well, when I mentioned that I have workshops, that I offer workshops, I guide the experience. I'm not there to teach. And I always like to have the space, people coming together and work together as a group, and we're there to learn from each other. And of course, I have tools highlighted so people could get a foundation as to what it is I'm trying to share. But I always welcome that community and people sharing their experiences, how they're understanding what I'm sharing and any experiences that they could bring as well to the table, because I feel that's how people will learn more in their own way. They'll be able to see aspects of themselves that sometimes they can articulate themselves. And just by allowing themselves to hear others, hear their experience or how they are understanding what they're receiving, I feel that they're giving themselves permission to just honor how they receive, how they're integrating, how they're understanding. And yeah, so definitely Akashic Guide is how I see myself. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I had the just immense pleasure of having a couple of readings from you over the, I think 6 years that we've known each other now. Is that right? Maybe a
Yes.
little, I think about 6 years, which is wild. I just love so much that I can have a sister from on another side of the country, from somewhere else entirely, of a entirely different lineage, and have gotten so close for 6 years, and yet we still have not ever stood face to face in person.
Isn't it wild and so amazing that we are I feel so close to you. Even when I got your first message, and I'm sure it was through Instagram, I just felt a connection to you. I loved reading your message and love responding back to you. And we would send each other really long messages, and then we transitioned to texting each other, and then finally seeing each other through the camera. And it's just amazing. And I feel really close to you. Like, if you're a really good friend, I've known you forever, which is amazing. Yeah.
Forever, 6 years slash forever. Yeah,
That's
I know, and I think a lot of people here can resonate with that timeline of the excitement of transferring a conversation and a friendship off of Instagram into a more traditional messaging system. It's a really interesting threshold to cross because you're like, okay, now we're real friends.
yes. Yes.
So we're definitely not alone in that. And you and I also are connected to other beautiful sisters where we have made that transition as well. So there's a beautiful group, yeah, where we've been engaging in this very organic and natural conversation regularly over the course of many years now, talking about how our gifts are developing and supporting one another through that. And there's no paywall. It really is through friendship and mutual trust and connection that we have come together. And it's so valuable. And you were the space holder for that. And so when I started that, shall we call it a blurb, I said, I've had a couple of readings with you. And I love calling you a guide because that is what it feels like. So we have this experience where you guide somebody in a meditation and then you are entering their records.
Yes.
And on my end, from my sensory, I like to say that what it feels like for me is that there is an invitation that comes from you as you're doing that, and an invitation that comes from me, and then our fields merge. And I think what's really interesting about the Akashic records, having dove into so many conversations around that, learning about and witnessing how people talk about it, there is so much variety. And there are some people who are like, this is how you do it. And then there are some who just flow with it. And my experience is more of a flow.
Yes.
And I'm certainly not here to say there is a wrong or a right way. I definitely want to make that clear. It's actually kind of the opposite, that the flow feels organic because we are organic beings and our senses, our subtle senses, human technology it reads in very unique ways. And some of that overlaps because we do all have a nervous system. We do all have a fascia. We are all 99% molecular water or whatever it is. So there's similarities, but how we translate, how we receive that is going to be pretty unique. And so the flow makes sense. And when you have someone coming to you who's maybe never done it before, or I feel like often there can be moments where people are really asking questions that are incredibly dear to their hearts. And there can be nervousness. And having been through various how to read the Akashic Records courses or read lots of different books, because I personally was trying to understand, like, what is this? And what am I connecting to? And how can I do it in a way where it feels like it's a mutual conversation and not just something that's happening around me? or something that I'm nervously seeking out. And I notice everybody has so many different ways. And so I personally came to the conclusion to throw the rule book out.
Yes.
And just understand that a lot of the rules are based on respect and free will. And when I made that choice, things really opened up. And
Mhm.
you came in because of that conversation when I sent you that message. I think I heard you on a podcast. I think that's what it was. And the first thing that happened was I recognized your voice. I recognized your energy through your voice. And it was like, I know her and I cannot explain it, but I know her and I need to tell her thank you for coming on this podcast and sharing your story. Because in that story, I remember that you had said it took you like a year or so to really understand how your channel works. And you didn't give up, even though it was frustrating, because you felt that I can do this and I need to, I'm meant to. And I sense that same kind of energy within myself. I don't need to do it the way this person is doing it or that person, but I know there's something here for me. And I know there's something here for everyone. And if I can just figure out how I'm getting in my own way, everything will change.
Yes.
And everything did change slowly over time, but everything has changed to my own relationship with myself and my guides and all of life around me. And so I sent you a message because that voice said, when I said, I know this person, I heard her say, of course you do. And I'm like, oh, let's see what happens. Let's
Yeah.
move forward with saying hello. And in the first reading I had with you, which I think was probably 2 years after we connected. Yeah, because I remember it was a bit of a stretch for me, like trying to figure that out with a toddler that would never leave my side, just in an environment where it wasn't supported for me to do these kinds of things. I would do it anyway, but activated some anxiety. So the moment that we sat in together and you walked us through a guided meditation, I felt a sense of anxiety lift that it's like I didn't know I was carrying that much. And immediate, like when you said, okay, we're going to start now, it was like the first line was a tuning fork. And I could
Wow.
just feel everything soften. And it felt like it was like a returning to a long lost friend.
Yes.
Yeah, like maybe you're away from something for a long time and then you meet up again and you go to your friend's house and you're like, oh, I remember this place. The grandmother's cooking in the kitchen, and you remember the smells that are different from your home and the sounds that are coming from the walls. That's what that first reading felt like for me. Disorienting because I wasn't expecting it. And I had a list of questions, and I think I mostly threw them out the window. I was like, I can't even, these are not important anymore. What's important is the way that I'm feeling and how true it feels. And I want to dig into that.
Yes.
And from there, I learned so much more about my own channel just by being present with somebody who was holding the space
Yes.
without telling me what to do. Yeah. This, I hope that for anybody listening, I'm making sense because I feel like I'm spending a lot of time talking and it's not my turn. If the Akashic guidance, I feel like that's what I'm trying to over explain is that the reading with you, yes, I want to talk more about your channel and how that works and your story and how you got to it. But what I want to express is the difference in how one feels when they are held in a space that is truly like a soul home. And the way that softened my nervous system helped me so much more than any book that says do this and do that. Did you have that for you? Was there someone that held the space for you as you were learning?
Yes, towards the end, once I finally felt like, okay, this is how you do it. Because you're right, it took me a year and a half of just practice, taking workshops and courses and reading many different books and books in English and Spanish, workshops in English and Spanish in Spain, Mexico, Chile, different teachers here in the US. And I was just taking what would resonate and was leaving the rest. And I just knew I'm not meant to do it the way that they're telling me to. There's elements that totally resonate with me that I feel are freeing for me to be able to do this in the way that I'm meant to do it. Because one of the reasons why I was drawn to the Akashic Records was because I've always had this longing of connecting with people, but on a deep level, not surface level, more like deep level, where you hear the stories where people are able to share personal things with a stranger. And they just feel it's the sense of because they can't really ask or share with close family members, depending on what's happening in their lives. And I wanted to hold a space. I've always wanted to hold a space where whoever comes to have a reading they are being supported, they are being seen, they are being heard, and they're not being judged. And when we talked about, I see myself as an Akashic guide, I see myself as an Akashic guide because when I open the records, I'm letting people know which guides are coming forward, and I'm literally standing by them. And so they're speaking, and I'm the one that is moderating, and I'm sharing everything that they're sharing, what they're doing. So I'm like that channel. So as you are asking questions in the records, you're asking them, and I'm sharing what's coming through. And yes, before I open the records, I learned I want to make people feel comfortable and I want them to just relax and really drop in and really ground and be present. And so I guide them through a meditation, a quick meditation that really just allows them to release any tension, any worries, any thoughts, and just allow that to melt away. I also guide them to open up their heart so then once I ask them, can I open your records? And then once I get their yes again, that's when I open the records through a prayer that was given to me, and I titled it The Light of the Akasha Prayer. Because to me, I was visualized going to the Akashic Records through this beam of light. And I'd love to share why later on. But
Yeah.
so this beam of light gets us to the Akashic Records. And through trainings and workshops and books, I always read that you go to a library and you pull a book and you read from this book. That has never been my experience opening the records. I do not go to a library. I do not pull a book. I always connect with the elements here on Earth. And oftentimes, depending which guides come forward, I actually open up the records in another galaxy or up in the ether. Like where literally I could see planet Earth and I could see all the stars all around and or I'm above the northern lights. It's just really different where they place me to be open the records. And I always describe everything in detail so they could also feel immersed in the space. And then I always let the client know which guides are coming forward and where they're standing. And they typically always stand in a circle because it's like we're here together and we're holding space and it's a circle. They begin to share. The other guides that I connect with so much are the animal spirit guides. And they always come through random spirit animals that sometimes I'm like, okay, I know what it looks like, but let me just look this animal up and I'll let you know the correct name. And immediately after a call, I need to look it up immediately because I begin to forget everything that I channeled. And I'm always in awe because these guides, these spirit animal guides that come through, their symbolism adds to the reading, what the message that they shared in the reading, they almost reiterate it or they go deeper into it. So they know that you're being supported. And I feel like within the records, the guides always share additional guidance in other ways. So the person that is receiving the reading fully understands and comprehends that they are being guided, they're being supported, they're not alone. And throughout the 6 years I've been doing this work, I've given over 1,000 readings, and 99% of those readings, there's always joy or tears, I feel like it's just releasing energy. And either they're tearing up or I'm tearing up. And when I know when I'm tearing up, it's because I'm releasing what needs to be released on their behalf. Because again, I'm in their record. So I feel like my body is used as a vessel to release a lot of this energy. And every single reading that I've given is magical. I'm always in awe as to what comes through. I always let people know I don't need to know the questions beforehand. This is your time. This is your time to connect with your guides, to ask the questions, all the questions that you have. You don't need to limit yourself. We always have time for all of them. And I always make sure that they know that this is a safe place. This is a place where you could just be raw and real, and they're going to hold you. And I share exactly what they say. And they always feel like a huge weight is lifted off of them because they were able to share things and or ask about things and receive the guidance. Or they've thought about doing something, but they question and doubt themselves, and it was reconfirmed, reaffirmed over and over again in the reading. And I always leave these sessions feeling full of gratitude, my heart full, because this is exactly what I wanted to do years before I came to my spiritual work. Even before I knew what all of this was, I always knew I want to be able to just connect with people on a very deep level and be able to hold space for them and be able to, I don't know, just connect and be able to channel. But I don't want for them to think I'm a psychic because I'm not a psychic. I want to be like a channel where I'm just the channel, the vessel where I'm just sharing the information. I'm not making it up. I'm receiving it and I'm just sharing it with you. And another thing that I always do as well in a reading is I channel with my eyes closed. So then people feel even more comfortable to cry or share what they want to share because I'm not looking at them. So they could just be their real selves and just be so raw and allow themselves to show up in the way they want to show up. And I, yeah, channel with my eyes closed, and all information that I'm receiving is through this field, which is the Akashic field. And I share it as it's coming. And there's oftentimes when there's no specific questions, they just share what needs to be shared. And it's things that they have in the back of their mind, but they don't know how to ask or if they should ask, but it's always shared, which again, I think it's so beautiful that we all have access to this. And so one of the ways that I found out how it is that I'm supposed to channel was when finally I was practicing with this person, and she just was like, okay, you just don't think about it, just feel into it, just sense into it. And we were doing a practice session, and I was just trying to figure out how do I receive? How do I receive? And I was doing it with my eyes closed. And so she says, what am I looking? What's the thing that's coming through now? What do you see? I'm like, a tree. And she's like, do you understand? We're connected. When I asked you that question, it's because I was staring at a tree. And you just said, I see a tree. So to understand that this is the energy field you're connecting to. And so everything that you are receiving is correct.
Yeah.
You just need to allow yourself to let go of the overthinking because I was overthinking. And so when she explained it to me that way, and then she showed me the tree, and it was the exact same thing I saw, I was just in awe. I'm like, okay, so it's just like all this burst of energy, and it's always going to be different. But I learned that throughout the years is that I feel like it depends on how a person receives messages or how their senses are opened up, that in a reading I might see more, in another reading I may feel more, or a combination of the both, or I might know more, or yeah, it just really depends. But my senses are quite open. But again, I feel like they're more emphasized, certain senses are emphasized in certain readings because I feel through that sense, I'm able to articulate it in the way that they're going to understand, which makes sense to me now. So I feel like at the beginning, I felt like this sense of it has to be this way. And then I understood like, no, it doesn't. It's just like the flow of energy and just allowing yourself to receive it in that moment.
I'm sorry for interrupting your flow. I haven't heard you say that before, that you receive differently depending on who you're reading for.
Yes.
And what a gem to hear from you, because just knowing that you have done thousands of readings at this point, and from individuals too, you've done a lot. And gosh, I imagine that's not even counting the mentorships and the groups. And
No.
all of that. So this is just one-on-ones, just to feel into that for a moment, because earlier when I explained here on this conversation, I've shared this with you before as well, that when you say that prayer or the meditations, like good tuning fork, and I feel our fields merge, there is
Yes.
an invitation. I don't have to allow it. But I also know that when I soften into it, you will receive more clarity.
Yes.
And that is what we want from a reader, is clarity.
Yes.
You want to be clear because you don't want to be guessing. And so I haven't heard you explain that before. And I think it's really important to anybody who is wanting to expand their gifts into their own sensory as well, just to understand that your channel works in a certain way. However, other people affect that too.
Yes.
And it shifts and changes the environment you're in. If we talk about the Akashic field, like I see it. I love that you shared that sometimes you're out in the cosmos and sometimes you're here and there and all over the place, and it's not ever like a book in a library.
Like this.
And I have had that experience of a book in a library before, but only one time out of the many years that I have been engaging with the Akashic records. And for me, it's all over the place too. Sometimes I enter into what looks like geometric structure, their soul blueprint. It's early on, I identified it as their tree of life because I started studying Kabbalah when I was like 11. And so these symbols and that structure was something I was already familiar with. And so, like you said, receive in a way that you will understand. And then the more comfortable you are with that symbolism and the clarity, you then can start receiving in ways that other people will understand, receive in language that they will understand, and feelings and senses and all the things, because ultimately that reading is for them.
Yes.
And and so it does, I feel like it just helps to just wash all of that. This is how it should look. Nonsense. Stop.
Yes.
Full stop. There's no should, there's no such thing as normal, period. We're all unique and brilliant and divine and intelligent and funny and strong and all of the things in various ways that sometimes merge and sometimes don't. And that's okay. It's on purpose. I want to come back to the Akashic field and merging for just a moment, because something that I have played with in the readings that we have done, it guided by my guides, is asking questions to them without saying them out loud and seeing if they answer through you. And I think the first time I did that, I didn't warn you that I was going to do that, because this beautiful feminine guide who we were connecting to told me not to, that it was something that we had to experience playfully. And it wasn't like, oh, don't tell her this is naughty. We weren't breaking a contract or anything. It was just, we're in this field, this share field, and question came through from her. So I just projected it.
Yes.
It felt like a very clear thing I can do. I said, that's an interesting question. And I put it into the field. And you know that a lot of the way I work and engage in the Akashic records is through the dream space and astral realms. And so that was a playground for me, that moment, to say, oh, I can do what I do in the astral and in the dream space without being out of body or without being asleep. And that was a beautiful bridge for me. It helped me further understand my channel and the way that it works in the waking life, right? But so she said to ask the question, but to not say it out loud. I immediately understood how to do that. And so I did. And then you answered the question.
Yes.
And I don't know how much about that moment that you remember, but I remember we just stayed with the flow and I didn't say anything until after. And from my memory, you were like, yeah, that was weird that this answer came through.
Yes.
But yeah, did you hear it? I don't remember. Did you hear
Oh,
the question or just feel the answer?
feel the answer. I didn't know what the question was, but I just immediately started just receiving this energy and this vision. And I remember different faces just It was like shuffling cards, but it was faces.
Yeah.
And then shuffling, I could just hear, I am all of them. I am
Yeah.
all of. And so I was like, okay, so I was trying to explain it to you as best as I could. I'm like, so I'm receiving these different faces, and it's just that one. I keep like shuffling the faces, and they keep saying, I'm all of them. I'm all of them. I am
Yeah.
all of them. Yeah.
It's funny. You're like, what is this? Why is this coming? Yeah. So to anyone listening, this is the what I endearingly refer to as the Ma energy, because it is like this divine feminine energy, and you can't pin it down. It's an indescribable essence. And over the years of connecting with her, I have like said, but who are you? But who are you? And she always says, I am all of them. And when I see her, I do often see a face, but it morphs, it changes, it shifts. It depends on the expression. And it feels like a part of me and also a part of everyone and everything. And so when we were in that session, she said, ask her the question that I never give you an answer to. Ask her that question. And so I just projected that. And then I love that she showed you this same things that she shows to me, like her sitting under this grand tree, this regenerative yew tree, and then just the face shuffling and saying, I'm all of them. And yeah. And so from that, we've played a little bit more in that realm. And I think that you can let me know what your perspective is on this. It's okay if it's different from mine, but I feel that on one level, there is a high level of integrity that needs to be held within these realms of spiritual development. You hold space in a very unique and powerful way that is unique to you. Some of that comes from practice, and some of that comes from your soul design. You are here to be that vibration, to be that kind of strong grounding force. Even the fact that your soul designed you to have this very soothing, kind of almost sultry voice. It's very comfortable to hear you speak. It's soft, it's soothing, and you could read me a lullaby anytime and I'll fall right to sleep. It'd be great. I see your whole system as on purpose, designed on purpose to set you up for both the challenge of learning in this realm as a human being, but also success for your soul path. And I think that's true for everyone. Earlier, you said that you wanted to talk a little bit about something. You said you would come back to it. And I got really excited about it. And it was just before you started talking about the animals that show up for you. Do you remember what that was?
Yes, definitely. So one of the reasons why I titled the prayer that I used to open the records, The Light of the Akasha, was because a light has been guiding me since day one. And just like many of you, I'm sure there's many of us out there. We all have gifts, but we might not know about them. And so I did not know what meditation was. I didn't know what the chakras were. I don't know. I didn't know what Reiki was. I didn't know light language. I didn't know anything about anything. And so in the fall of 2017, I came across a healer because I felt like all I kept saying during that time was like my light is dimming. That those are the words that would come to me, but and I would literally see I'm like dimming and I don't know what else to say. And so a friend of mine then referred me to her cousin who's a healer. And so I met this wonderful woman. And as soon as she saw me, she knew that what I had been saying is true. And so she started explaining to me the chakras and how they work. And then she started explaining to me breath work and meditation and just really releasing whatever is heavy and just let it go. And you do that through just your breath. That's all you have to do. And so she said to me, I want you to ground. And I'm like, what is that? And she's so literally you're going to go outside barefoot and you're going to dig your feet into the soil and you're just going to stand there and you're just going to breathe. And then you're going to, if anything comes up, anything that feels heavy, just say, you know what, universe, take it. I don't want it anymore. Just take it. And so I met her on a Thursday. I did this practice on a Friday, Saturday, and on Sunday, the third day, I decided to do it midday and I went outside. It was a bright, sunny day. There were no clouds in the sky. It was just blue sky. And I went outside and I dug my feet into this loose sand, really dug in, and I felt the coolness of the earth. And I closed my eyes and I just started in my mind saying, just take it away. I don't want this anymore. Just take it away. And I kept on breathing, inhaling and inhaling and exhaling, and had my eyes closed. And with my eyes closed, I saw this bright light, like it was like a flash, this flash of light, so bright, with my eyes closed in the middle of the day. And with my eyes closed, I squinted. And I'm like, what is it? And I looked around, I'm like, what was that? And I looked around, there was nothing in the sky. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking, like, how is it this even possible? Like, where did this flash of light come from? And so I just like didn't say anything, but I was just throughout that Sunday, I was just thinking about it. I'm like, what was that? And a part of me felt at peace with it, but my mind was trying to figure out what was that flash. And so on Monday, I messaged this healer and I let her know my experience. And I said, I've been doing what you told me to do, which is ground, go outside and just breathe and just say, universe, just take this away from me. I don't want it anymore. And with my eyes closed, I saw this bright flash of light. And I asked her, what was that? And so she chuckled and she said to me, my dear, like, you do realize there's been people that have waited up to 20 years to see what you just saw, and you saw that in a matter of days. And I'm like, but what is that? And she's like, those were your guides welcoming you, and you're ready for this work. And that's what initiated me on this rediscovery of my spiritual gifts and connecting with the guides and connecting with that light, which led me to the Akashic Records because I found the Akashic Records, I think 3 months later. And I just felt this instant pull to them, just hearing about them and just knowing that there's a book that you can read and it teaches you how to do it. And it wasn't like easy for me to just get the book and start channeling again. It took me a year and a half, but there was a lot of letting go of expectation and fear and comparison is what was holding me back. And once towards the tail end of a year and a half, that's when I understood, wait, I am channeling. It's just that I'm not channeling in the way that the book says or this person taught me to channel. I'm channeling in my own way, like it's my own key, which is different. And then I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna do practice sessions. I need people to tell me if I'm doing it or not. And in that moment, I gave myself permission to, okay, so I'm gonna allow myself to do these practice sessions. And so what's the worst that could happen? They're gonna say, no, it's all incorrect. That's only gonna tell me I need to practice more. But what if they say, yes, it all makes sense. Yes, I resonate with it. Then yes, I've actually been channeling. And so I need people that are not my friends, people I don't know, complete strangers to give me permission to practice with them. And yeah, I met a lot of people and they gave me permission and one after another kept saying, wow, you connected in this way and you shared this. And I'm in awe in the way that you shared it and how you described it. And it just resonates with me. And I was blown away because that was a confirmation. I feel like my mind, my ego needed to have to believe, even though deep within I knew I'm doing it, but I just didn't believe it.
Yeah.
And so that is why since day one, when I saw that flash of light, I always visualize that light accompanying me in every single session. And when I guide a meditation, I focus it on there's this light that is coming from the great central sun and it's coming down and illuminating your body. And then when I open the records, it's the light of the Akasha is leading us to the Akashic records. So it's this light. And that's the light that I connect with in everything that I do. Every single time I open the records for someone, or when I'm holding space workshop, or when I'm holding space in Akashic regression. Basically it's a past life regression, but I call it Akashic regression because I combine the Akashic records with it. And so everything that I offer, the foundation of what I offer is the Akashic records. And after doing this work for 6 years and reading for over 1,000 people, I've always thought, like, how can someone see what I'm seeing, but in their own way, they could actually experience it because they hear it and they're like amazed, but how can they experience it themselves? And so I decided to learn past life regression and be a guide. And so I guide people into a past life and then I connect them with their higher self and guides, and then we open the records. And so they could experience them in their own way. And again, I'm just guiding this experience as well. As always, I'm just an Akashic guide. I'm here to just guide you through it. And those experiences have been powerful as well because they get to dive deeper into a life, and then that life actually correlates to what's happening in the present life. And then we could dive deeper with asking their higher self and their guides more questions, which it just again fills my heart up because it's I keep doing it. I keep going back to the Akashic records and weaving them in with other modalities and other ways of connecting because I feel someone may not be super open to the Akashic records, but they might like tarot or like oracle. So I combine it with that as well. So they could see that you could access the records in any way, in any form, with anything. The records are there for everyone.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that so much beautiful experiential wisdom that you're offering. And my addition would be to say that there are layers and levels. I like to see the Akashic records really as memory.
Yes.
And when we, because we understand memory on some level, if we can connect with memory that is maybe beyond the surface and going into subtle and then into multidimensional and then to multifunctional as well, and continue with that, we can find our place in the vastness of all that we are, like as a center point of awareness.
Yes.
And then whatever it is that we're needing in that moment will come to us as it is resonant, as we're able to integrate and process. And sometimes things come early because it needs more time to
Yes.
integrate into the physical experience. My experience with the Akashic field through dream work has shown me so many different layers and levels. And not all memories are on the surface. Not all of what we are processing and needing to release or connect with is just like this subconscious processing. Sometimes it is much deeper. Sometimes it is deeply encoded into the origins of the soul. And so when you're doing a regression and allowing the Akashic field to be, allowing your awareness to be within the Akashic field as you're also holding space for that, I feel that there is a holistic approach to enabling smoother integration.
Yes.
That is how I feel about it. But I also understand that the smaller human mind that's meant to keep us here, like to meant to help us navigate a world that is constantly reflecting duality while also constantly reflecting unity. Both are true here. We have separation that we get to experience, which is very challenging for many sensitive people, myself included. And also when we have that recognition of, but this is how it's connected, there's like a sense of wonder from the inside out. So we have both of those present in this realm. And so I feel like integration is really important in sessions, which is why I like your approach with we always have time for all of your questions. And in my experience, sometimes the questions that I come with, they just, like I said before, they get thrown out the window because there's a reason why you connect with someone. It is also for you, for us to connect, for our fields to merge, for there is always reciprocity within energetic exchange. Yes, there's monetary exchange and that's helpful, but there's always reciprocity that goes beyond what we understand. I'm like going off on a tangent here. One of the most powerful things that you said to me in that first session that we had, that the guide said to me through you, is how did they phrase it? They're like, we want you to understand that you're always channeling, you just don't know it because you keep thinking it's something different and it's not. And that was like the best invitation I ever received in my life. And I want to say this out loud to anyone that's listening, somebody can be connected to their guides in a really tangible way and still, for whatever reason, still doubt
Yes.
that they can do this
Yeah.
and still hide or still be like afraid to share. And so it was that invitation into, for me, it was like what happened in my dream time, the messages that I received, what happens when I create with my hands. And so that's how I understood, I already do this. It was just normal for me. My throat is starting to close a little because I am being told that it's time to stop talking. Wondering if you still have time, if you're still comfortable to open the records for our group here.
Of course.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah, I'm, like, hearing this little, like, hummingbird, right? Like Twitter, kind of not Twitter, they're in my ear, which tells me that the portal is opening for us, and the more that I speak, the more that my body says stop. Do you wanna walk anyone through what we're going to do? Or I guess we already did that with just mentioning grounding, meditation.
Definitely. So I'm going to open the records, but before I open the records, I always love to guide meditation. So this way anyone who's listening to this episode, I want you to feel grounded, present, and connected. And so I will guide you through the guided meditation, and then I will open the Akashic records for the group. Sheena, should I utilize Harmonia Rising?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Alrighty. So we're going to begin by closing our eyes and just settling in. Take a nice deep inhale. Long, easy exhale. Twice more. Once more. As you continue to drop in, you'll begin to visualize or imagine a beautiful bright light coming down from the great golden sun. And so this light is like a shooting star, and it makes its way to the top of your head. And when it reaches the top of your head, this beautiful light begins to shine down your face, down your neck, over your shoulders, and down your arms towards your fingertips, slowly shining down your back, down your chest, down your belly, towards your hips. Slowly, this beautiful light begins to wrap around every single inch of your legs as it makes its way down to the soles of your feet. And when it reaches the soles of your feet, this beautiful light generates roots far and wide. So these roots make their way down to the heart of Mother Earth. Down they go. And when they reach the heart of Mother Earth, the roots activate with a divine, loving energy. And so this energy pulses back up towards your feet, illuminating every single cell within you. And so this beautiful energy begins to swirl around your legs towards your hips, wrapping around your back, illuminating every single chakra. This beautiful energy continues to wrap around your belly and your chest, illuminating your heart. You begin to feel how the energy pulses through your hands as it wraps around your arms towards your shoulders, softly wrapping around your neck, around your face, returning back to the top of your head, and shooting back up towards the Akasha. And so in this moment, your entire body is illuminated and encapsulated with this beautiful golden light swirling around you, within you, below you, and above you, settling in. Beautiful. As we continue to settle in, my question to you, Sheena, is do you give me permission to access Harmonia Rising, Akashic Records?
Yes.
Beautiful. And so within this light-filled space, we begin. Through the light-filled frequency of the Akasha, we gather together to channel guidance, wisdom, and healing. Light of the Akasha, illuminate my path and create a shield of light filled with unconditional love to expand my state of consciousness to be a clear channel for this reading. Guide me to align and connect with Harmonia Rising in the light of the Akashic Records, and guide me to share the wisdom and compassion from the guides and guardians. Guide me to align and connect with Harmonia Rising in the light of the Akashic Records, and guide me to share the wisdom and compassion from the guides and guardians. Guide me to align and connect with Harmonia Rising in the light of the Akashic Records, and guide me to share the wisdom and compassion from the guides and guardians. As above, so below, and so below as above. The records are now open. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Many guides begin to say as they begin to show me this beautiful landscape, a landscape that has many different elements. In this landscape, I'm able to see a pyramid, but then I'm able to see golden sand alongside a rainforest. And then there's a creek of water, just beautiful, crystal clear water moving through the space. We have a yew tree as well, welcoming into the space. And we have spirit animals making their way forward, such as the eagle. We have a panther. We have a sheep, buffalo, and a wolf coming through. And so they also welcome you to this space. Welcome here. They say welcome.
Mm. Um, mm.
And the Ma frequency is also here. And so again, I'm seeing this energy as like I'm all of them, and I keep seeing like this, like a face and keeps shuffling to many different faces. Also welcomes you to this space. And so when you are ready, they all say, you may ask your first question.
Mm. I thank you so much. I want to acknowledge the presence of the landscape and the animals, which I also saw, and offering the gratitude for the moi frequency to just be present and help settle any nerves that I actually was noticing. So that was really important that she stepped forward and let me know that this space is held beyond all doubt.
Yes.
And I initially am seeing what I want to speak to actually right now is the celestial guides that are coming forward. Their light was exceptionally brilliant right off the bat. And I feel throughout this project and it coming forward, there's been quite a lot of guidance from Gaia, from the Ma, from the elements and nature, while also being held by the celestial guides, almost like they're watching in support, watching, because I understand that this celebration for humanity to come into their wholeness and remember themselves as intelligence, as divine, as brilliance, and they are present in celebration, and I can feel that celebration. And I wonder if they have anything they would like to offer in this moment.
Definitely. And so, yes, there are many celestial guides coming through this beautiful celestial energy. And alongside this celestial energy is just as you mentioned, the elementals from every single element is here. The nature spirits and the tree spirits. And the ram specifically keeps on almost leading the pack of these spirit animals that are here. And what they want to share first and foremost is that by you opening up to receive the guidance and the direction of which you have been leading Harmonia Rising. And then they literally show me like a sun rising, and as the sun is rising, this ram spirit animal is spearheading all of these energies coming together. And so the reason behind all of these energies, all of these intentions coming together for Harmonia Rising is to bring community together. And when we bring community together, they're saying, we will be there. We will be there to hold that space. And the community that is meant to come together is souls that long for this deep connection, to be able to fully disconnect, to reconnect, to be able to see themselves where they are at and hold themselves and not do it alone, but do it in community. And so when all these elements come together, all these energies are coming together, frequency Ma is saying like this, almost like this, the points of a crystal grid. And when these points come together and they come together in this way, there's an activation that is not just happening to the group of people coming together, but within the location itself. Because again, it's elements coming together and it just weaves together in such a way that there's almost like this explosion and activation that is happening to everyone and everything within that space. And you have been leading this, and we have been sharing this with you for quite some time, and the vision is coming together now, and you see it, you feel it, you know it, and all the elements are coming together in the physical. This is experience because it's meant to be experienced. Does this make sense, they say?
Yeah. Yeah. It absolutely makes sense to me because this has been coming together for, I feel, actively over a year, but really it's a life's work, a life's understanding is coming together. And not just of myself, like when my son was born, more information was was presented to me. I had to say yes, of course, and step into that yes, and went through just some pretty grand initiations. And in order to be able to hold this field in the way that I am tuning to. So I feel that what you shared absolutely makes sense to me. And for for further clarification, what I see around the planet through these communities gathering, I'm trying to avoid calling it work because it's, while it is very service based, it's is the joyful reconnection I feel to being in right relationship both with, like, with the elements within and around us. Our The field of the unified field, the harmonic unified field, is one of joy.
Yes.
And that can feel, it's very light. It's very, by light, I mean filled with information. It can feel very intense to the human nervous system, which is why it's taken calibration for me. And when we gather together, it is my understanding that it is that integration becomes not only more powerful for every individual, but also softer,
Yes.
and maybe softer than my original initiations and experiences, and those of many other light workers who have been bringing in a lot for some time. So I see Gaia in this beautiful light grid, and I see nodes along that grid, like convergent points. We might call them ley lines, or some might say dragon lines or song lines, or even breath lines. And I feel that there's some nuance to what each of these labels are pointing to, but they're similar at different vibratory fields. And when we go to a location, like in what we are calling Harmonia Rising, we are connecting on those notes and both giving and receiving to the harmonic field through our presence and awareness.
Yes.
Can you speak more on that?
When connecting to that harmonic field, it's really connecting back in this to this remembrance. All in all, it's going to be a remembrance of self, of connection within themselves, the community that's coming together, but a remembrance for that particular space that you are going to bring these gatherings to. Why? Because through the vibration of the frequency that you're working with in those in those moments during the retreat, it's you're combining all the elements, and not just, as we mentioned before, the elements of earth, air, fire, water. It's also sound, it's frequency. And it's not just the frequency through the sound, but the frequency within those individuals are going to be present, because they are going to open themselves to connecting to remember. They're connecting to this remembrance deep within their soul, and through their voice, through even just showing up, that is going to tune in to the heart, that harmonic frequency. And they keep showing me these almost like musical notes, but it's not musical notes. It's more like light language that looks like it, but and it's just like a vibration. It's this harmonic frequency that is rooted in recognition and remembrance.
I'm glad that you shared what they were showing you with the notes, because I was seeing light bodies coming forward, individuals, and each of them were a note on a scale. And together they create a chord. And as they step forward, and as we play with one another, create with one another, connect with one another, there is this melody that's formed, but it's within that one note of harmonic field. And so it's, as you're speaking and sharing what I'm seeing, it connecting also to frequency, to sound. And
Yes.
that's that that brings me to some of the guidance that's come through about the human body being of the divine, of the son, of God, of Gaia, that our bodies are that unity of divine masculine and divine feminine in form through the light and through matter. And
Yes.
I wonder if any of the guides present, if not Ma or Gaia, would like to speak on the human form as an instrument for, or as creation.
Definitely. The human form is creation. And it's this vessel that is able to create in ways that surpass anything, really. But in order to be able to connect with this creative energy that really combines both the masculine and the feminine, it really, the root of it is the remembrance, and really allowing the community that's going to come together to really release, to just be in such a way that allows them to tap into the energy of play, the energy of allowing themselves to be seen, to acknowledge first and foremost themselves, but to be seen in ways that they have not been able to. It's just really allowing themselves to drop it all away, whatever they feel that they need to hold on to feel like they belong. You're not belonging to the community, you are part of it. And so who you are at your core is that divine creation.
Yeah, I often think about belonging as not something that you seek to find or are invited to, but is actually more closely related to the relationship of participation
Yes.
and how one participates with life as life.
Yes.
The next question that I have that's coming forward is, it is a bit unusual in today's world to create a retreat like this, a gathering like this, with so much intention on making sure that children are present in as their code keeping, like wholeness.
Yes.
And that's been the clearest message for me throughout my life working with children, but then more actively once I became a mother and I started to see more of the separation that happens so easily with children and the dampening of their gifts, the dampening of the gifts to fit in, to belong, to feel safe, to protect themselves. And while I think a lot of people will understand why that is, I want to invite a shift of focus from the consequence of being profound divine light in a dense field into the gift of allowing a generation to be invited into ceremony, to participate, to help shape and mold community from the moment of their first breath, not once they become an adult.
Definitely. And so, as you're asking the question, they immediately highlight the word play. This retreat really focuses on that play and the childlike energy and literally having children there in the retreat, because this retreat is also meant to nourish and nurture their gifts. And in doing so, it's also providing an invitation for the adults to also allow themselves to tap into that childlike energy that still exists within them, but of course wasn't nurtured or wasn't fully apparent or real for them because they didn't have that space or they didn't have that guidance. And this retreat is really the children and their energy, their intention, their vision, their being will guide a lot of these activities because their energy, it ripples out and would provide an invitation for the adults to also be able to share and really feel again that childlike energy. And it's really important in today's day and age to be able to support children and to remind them that who they are is their truth, and how they want to show up is real. Could continue to tap into that inner knowing and that in those gifts and not hide them away because they are meant to actually shine and be able to share in the way that they do. And being in a space like this and in a retreat space like this would really be the space to continue to nurture them and guide them, but also allow the adults as well the space to tap into that energy as well. Energy that has been forgotten or pushed away or not really acknowledged. And this is a time to be able to connect with that energy of creation, of being present, of showing what you truly want to share and showing who you want to be or are, but haven't been able to. Does this make sense, Stacey?
Yeah. And I'm sensing my son's higher self come forward and ask if there is, ask of me to ask, is there a message for the children that are going to be present?
Definitely. The message is that, you know, the children already know, knowing that the children that are meant to be in this retreat, they know they're just coming together with those other children that they've connected with and they've connected with him in an energetic space. And so it's almost like they're coming together to be in that present physical space. And it's just like the children are finally going to be able to connect with other children that see them, recognize them, connect with them in their energy in that way that they know deep within their soul how to connect.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And as you're saying that, I am feeling the nod and of saying yes. And thank you for saying that out loud. I am also feeling two things. First, I'm feeling the presence of a dragon, which I often feel when connecting with children of my son's generation, though that energy is quite new to me as far as I'm aware, just since becoming a mother. And that dragon is present alongside my son's higher self that's asking for a message for the adults who are coming to this who are not parents, because the understanding that I am, the understanding I have through this connection right now is that the children know, the parents know, they're in communication with one another. They will know. But there are people who are arriving either this first retreat or maybe the next who do not have children in the physical right now. And they're wondering if they belong and what is their place. And the children would like this question to be addressed. And I'm not sure how the dragon energy is present with that. So if there's clarity on that, that'd be
Yes. And so the dragon energy is here, especially as you began to ask this question. And so, yes, there's parents and children, but there's also this retreat is also is open and meant to welcome in individuals that do not have children because they have a very strong connection to that energetic field where children connect to. And so it's really and individuals who really just want to remember their true essence and really want to connect with that light within them to be able to remember who they truly are deep within. Yes, this space, this retreat is also for you because you get to again disconnect so you could reconnect, but you're doing so through through this childlike energy of letting go of structure, but more so allowing yourself to open up to the sense of play and allowing yourself to just be and allowing yourself to enjoy and to connect and to open up your senses. And you're able to do this clearly, easily, effortlessly when you are around the energy of children that are that this is innate for them. This is second nature for them. It's a part of who they are. And so individuals who don't have children, of course, if you have this pull towards this retreat is because you are meant to be there, because you are also meant to receive these activations and you also meant to remember that true essence. Does this make sense to
yeah.
say?
Yeah. As soon as you started to speak as well, I could feel this dolphin energy come in and say, we're here too. We're here too.
The dolphins and the whales, yes.
All right. So I'd like to shift a little bit to there's so much that we will receive through connecting and gathering and participating in coming into right relationship with the elemental world within us and around us on all of these harmonic grid points. What specifically about this location in New Mexico? Yes, I want to ask what is there for us, but I, in truth, feel that I already know the answer. So if there's anything that I haven't spoken about that wants to come through already, then by all means, that answer is welcome. But I also want to know, what is our service there? What does Gaia, creation, hmm, want from us? I'm trying to think of a better way to say that because my high self is so particular with language, but another way isn't coming through. Is that a satisfactory question?
Yes, and first and foremost, it's meant to be in New Mexico because the land here is rooted with such ancient history, rooted in ceremony and sacredness, and where Mother Earth has been honored through ceremony. And it begins here because this is almost like the starting point where all of these, as we mentioned before, like this harmonic frequency connects. This is the beginning and it's gonna weave out. And by having a group gather here, it's almost as if by this group coming together, this group is inviting the elements of Mother Earth to join them within this journey of remembrance, of connection, of of that connection to play and just connecting to that essence. And that itself creates an activation and begins to activate this field. And so it's almost like they almost show me like a heartbeat. Like this is where it begins. And this is where also the energy of Gaia is going to be present, and also honoring every single one of the participants that is there to again reconnect to with themselves, but also reconnect within the space, which is connecting to all the elements, connecting to Mother Earth.
As you're speaking, I can just feel the biggest smile coming through my entire being, because it reminded me again of a message that Guy had shared regarding this retreat, where she said that she wants to play with her children again. And she's with all of them. And she was speaking about humanity coming into, again, right relationship with the elements and being divine instruments of creation. It's like this very warm and powerful feeling of really understanding the creative vessel, the divine
Yes.
form, and playing, really creating through play and creating what feels like worlds, like new worlds. Yeah.
Definitely. Yes.
And it's emotional as well. Oh, when she said that, I want to play with my children again, it came through. It's very emotional. And when I remember it, I feel that emotion again. And I'm curious if that emotion is coming through because Gaia speaks so clearly through the emotional body, or if it really is her feeling, let us create together this profound, like we've been distant and it was never meant to happen, or it didn't need to be, or maybe not even getting into right or wrong, but just let's be together again. I want to know my children and I want my children to know me. It's a very strong feeling.
Yes, definitely. And it's what they're sharing is that strong connection of recognition of connecting with Mother Earth, and Mother Earth holding space for all of them, everyone, that all of the children and just also the adults being there. It's all her children, and to remember her, because yes, there's almost been this almost like disconnection. And so she wants to be able to connect again like she used to a long time ago, she says. And she desires that.
Yeah, and I wonder if this first location, if the land, the waters, the sky, if there's the elements there are very uniquely supporting this reconnection.
Definitely. And so I'm seeing a rattlesnake come through. And as you're asking this question, and the answer immediately is yes. And the reason is because this first retreat in the land of enchantment, which is New Mexico, many, especially many adults that will be joining this retreat alongside their children, there's going to be almost like a transformation. There's going to be a shedding of skin, and they're going to finally step into who they are. And they're going to remember that through being within the energy of the children in this retreat, but also being and connecting with Mother Earth. It's like all of this energy is going to be stripped away, and they're going to step into their true essence.
And that makes sense why the activities that are being guided to offer up are ways in which an adult can really soften and deepen
Yes.
into their own spiritual work, while also being very supported, but to witnessing and engaging in really innocent play.
Yes. Yes,
Mm.
it's very sacred, the gatherings. It's gonna be rooted in sacredness.
I feel very excited, and admittedly, it's a lot of responsibility for us all.
Yes. They're saying it is, but just know that all the elements, all the energies, everyone that is meant to be here is going to come together, and it's going to be very fluid, very effortless. It's not going to be rigid or structured. It's going to be more of like this fluidity, very, they keep showing me like a harmonic symphony is just going to flow very effortlessly.
Yeah, I feel that. Thank you. So the last question I have is one that is being offered. It's forming now. I just need a moment. There's a river that flows through where we are going in Taos, New Mexico, where we're gathering. There is a current message, a current, like a specific transmission that river is offering up. It sounds to me like a hum that is been infaming, like penetrating the ground. Like I'm seeing starlight, sunlight, moonlight coming into the waters, and then that information is going into the ground nearby. And then I'm also seeing a connection to a pool of lava, like a bubble of lava underground. And this lava bubble I've known was present for a little bit of time now, and I haven't seen that connection to the water yet and the star. And I'm there, I guess there isn't a question. So I wonder, from this seems like an invitation for the celestial guides and Gaia and that dragon energy. Is there a connection there that they want me or all of us to be aware of?
As you ask the question, they all begin to say, as above, so below, in between. And it's just the water itself is this hum. This hum is frequency. And then through that frequency, there's a clearing. And within that clearing, the water carries it. And then the water carries it to this lava bubble who transmutes it. And so it's almost like they keep showing me almost like the circle. It's a circle, like this continued motion that it's almost like this happens in order for this happens in order for this happen. And so they keep saying as above, so below, in between, because it all leads to one direction, reconnection, and that is by releasing, letting go, and transmuting.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm sensing some inner earth councils present at the moment, also just saying we're here. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, they all say, for being here today and for asking all of these questions. All the energies, celestial elementals, dragon energy, all these spirit animals, thank you. Frequency Ma, thanks you for being here today and for receiving in this way. Thank you, they all say. Beautiful. I would like to thank the light of the Akasha for lighting the way. And I would like to thank the guides and guardians for their love and compassion. And I would like to thank the Akashic beings of light for all guidance, wisdom, and healing. The records are now closed. The records are now closed. The records are now closed. Thank you, and so it is.
Beautiful. I want to share with everyone, as you were closing, I saw the face of the jaguar
Yes.
coming in at the tail end. Just like I sense the jaguar as this. I'm seeing a black panther, so I don't know if it's the same as what you saw, but it's black cat. And she comes in at the tail end as this energy of, I will always follow up behind. I walk where you can't see. This is very protected. And I'm here in that realm. But then also there was this energy of not neediness, but I felt grief, like a longing. And they want to acknowledge it because it feels important for me to say out loud to that panther, thank you. I saw you, I see you, and I didn't ask any direct questions of that protective energy because it's already so a part of my field. And perhaps that was like that little message of, please know I'm here. Don't be afraid.
Yes,
Everything
definitely.
is okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. How do you feel?
I feel great. I always love records and just being within the energy, and there was a release of energy, and so now I feel lighter, and so yeah, beautiful energy. And it's Harmonia Rising is so supported, so many energies from different realms coming forward, and it's not only Harmonia Rising, it's almost like these energies that are coming forward are the energies of the participants as well
Yeah.
that are to be there. And so they're waiting for them. They're waiting for them to show up and to be a part of this experience. And yeah, they kept in the background just sharing as above, so below, in between. It's tiered, it's so many levels, so much depth. And yeah, the ram was like leading them to this space, and Mother Earth really present and honored to hold the space and have everyone gathered there.
I like the ram. I didn't know beforehand, before like kind of settling into creating this landing page for the website and imagery. And I kept seeing this ram, this sheep with big horns. And I did not know that those are present in New Mexico. I had no idea. And it makes me so happy that they're showing up in the Akashic records. I just, like you said before, when animals show up, it's so delightful. It's like our earth kin. It's, yeah, you guys kind of took over, but we're still here.
Yes, and it just, I saw the eagle, the ram, a buffalo, a wolf, the panther, and the panther came in to kind of see, but then almost just gave the space for all these animals to come through. And I was like kind of staying behind them, just observing. And then the rattlesnake came through, and then a bat came through as well. So, yeah.
Interesting. Hmm. Bats are pretty cool. And there's a lot of bats in dormant or ancient volcanoes in the caves. I
Yes.
remember taking an earth science class and going out in the field in southern Idaho and climbing. There's these holes in the ground, and there's a fence there because obviously you don't want to fall in because you climb down and it used to be a volcano and it erupted. And now there's this giant hole in the ground. And you can go through all the lava tubes, and it's so dark down there because there's no light except for the one hole. And there are so many bats. And I went down once and I was like, that's an epic experience. I don't need to go into any of these others. I need to just integrate how it felt to be surrounded by bats all around me and then not be able to see them. I was like 19. It's a long time ago, but it's interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna tune into that more. I did not play so much in this shared field around asking questions and seeing what will come through just telepathically because this isn't about me. I really appreciate everything that you shared and holding the space. And yeah, I feel a little at a loss for words. I feel whenever I go into this particular space with you, there is a lightness behind my eyes that I sense. And it's different from if I have been meditating. There's a lightness behind here. And I feel, well, those records are, this space is closed in a sense, right? The messages are always continuing. And I want to share that when you were opening the records, the intensity of the light of those who were gathering was just so sparkly. It's like fireflies just popping in everywhere. And they were all different colors and they It's interesting. Some were more distant, some were more focused, more present. And that's when that I asked about the celestial guides, because as they were, all of these beings were coming forward, I saw a huge flash just right in front of my left side. And it was a very clear beacon, like Star Family Broadcasting. And yeah, I think that there's just more to come.
Definitely.
There's like this energy of wanting to have all the answers, but my guides are always like, then we ruin the fun.
Yes.
If we give you everything, that ruins the fun.
Just but try.
Even though for us humans, sometimes it's not so fun to not know.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So at this retreat, we didn't talk about this, at this retreat in New Mexico, we're all going to practice together. It's an invitation for anybody who wants to gather in this way. We will, guided by beautiful Laura here, be invited into a group Akashic record reading where we can all ask questions. And I'll share this when we gather as well, but I'm happy to collect questions and guide that if people are uncomfortable speaking. But also, I don't feel that anybody will be uncomfortable. Not really, not when they're there. And so this is, you are holding space. This is not about hierarchy. We are all channels. And I think there's so much power in coming together in practicing together from that perspective, from you are going to show up knowing that they can.
Yes.
I'm going to show up knowing that they can, that I can, that you can. And that is a very different energy than let me teach you my way.
Yes.
And that's also the energy that children present to us because they can, because they were born to do so. And they can dot dot. It doesn't matter what it is. They can learn to walk without crawling. They can learn to talk. They can be connected with trees and fairies and dragons, but also really powerful energies that we don't necessarily always associate with childhood. People talk a lot about, a lot of children are connected with dragons these days, from
Yeah.
what I hear. And I will say that's wonderful, but also my experience with the dragon energy is pretty intense. They are not willing to hold distortion for you. You will be in your truth and they will see you as your truth and you will entrain to that.
Yes.
And it's not a force. It's just, you are whole, you are divine, you are brilliant. I'm not going to engage in the conversation of why you're not good enough, because that's a lie.
Yeah.
And so if you're holding that energy of shame or doubt, it can feel really intense as they help you release that. Though with children, it doesn't feel so intense to them. It's just playful. So I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we will practice together and then also an Akashic regression session as well. And I have experienced one Akashic group regression session with you. And it was a lot like this, very calming and beautiful, although I was laying down. So it was even more relaxing.
Okay.
Yeah. And have you done those in person yet?
Not yet. This would be my first one, which I'm very excited to be able to actually be in person. I've done them over Zoom, but yeah, I want to be in person, be able to be within the space. It'll be magical as well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And our dear sister Juana, who I will also speak with soon here on this broadcast, will be present during that as also space holder. Just understanding that we are all powerful energies coming together, and there is deep sincerity here, also integrity of innocence and play. And so the softness matters, the slowness matters, the flexibility matters, the flow matters, but so does the structure of support.
Yes.
And so we are providing that support that is also slow and soft and flexible. It's very matronly, really. It's very motherly. It's very Gaia-like. It's, yeah, there are deserts. There's also oases.
Yes, definitely. I'm looking forward to it.
And to finally share cacao together.
Yes.
We have not done that yet. And I'm excited for that as well, for
Sure.
everybody. Mhm.
Yes.
I'm talking directly to you, but also for everyone. Yeah.
That is gonna be magical. Just coming together, learning, practicing together, experiencing all of this together. It's gonna be such an amazing experience.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Laura. Is there anything you want to say? Final closing. Sorry. I'm so out of practice with this. Any closing messages?
Yes, definitely. So my website is Laura Tati Laira. You'll link it, but that you'll find me like that same name on my socials as well. I'm always posting what it is that I offer. I'm really trying to do like these in the day of mini reels so people could see the work that I do because this is a practice I do every single day and I love it. I love connecting with people. And if anyone has any questions regarding my work, you're more than welcome to reach out to me via email or through Instagram. That's mostly where I'm at. But I'm really looking forward to meeting all the wonderful people that are going to gather in this retreat and be in person, be with you and everyone else in person and hold space and practice together, learn together, experience together, and connect with Mother Earth, and especially in New Mexico, such a beautiful place. Taos.
We didn't talk about that. You are a New Mexican native.
It is. I am. I was born and raised in New Mexico, born in Las Cruces, raised in Albuquerque, lived in Rio Rancho. And so I'm pretty well versed with the area and I love it so much. It feels like home. It is my home. And it feels like, I don't know, I have this really strong, deep connection to Gaia. And when I'm there, I just love to be barefoot. I love to connect in that way with her and just have these deep inhales and just I feel supported and held being there. And that's what I wish for everyone that's going to attend this retreat, to know that you're going to be held and supported and it's going to feel like home.
Thank you so much. And I'll connect everything. And if anybody wants to connect with you, they know how to. I really encourage it just because you're so wonderful. And we'll see each other soon.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
All of us.
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much, Sheena.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your light. Thank you for your presence. If this conversation resonated within your heart song, please reach out to us. We want to know you. We want to create with you. We want to be in harmonic communion. We love you, and we'll see you soon.